Hello, thank you for joining us on CoreTV News at 4. I am Frank Omalapia. Here are some of the reports we're filing at this time. President Goodluck Jonathan appreciated the prayers of clerics in the nation at a church service in Lagos. The president, while acknowledging that the nation has had its difficulties, lauded church leaders for their fervent prayers. He, however, noted that the unity of the nation has been sustained by their prayers, urging them to continuously seek the face of God on behalf of the nation.
President, it's a part of your ministry of the world. But because of your prayers, this we are still living. The country is still politically stable. And of course, with your prayers, and with our own community, I surely bring this extremism to our end, so that our nation will move forward. God is also good because it depends so much on people like the oil prices are coming down. We have to share the economic issues. But with our prayers and commitment from government, we will surely go through. So let me use this opportunity to thank my brothers and sisters for your prayers for the nation, for your prayers for all of us, and to promise you that we will do our best to make sure that as a nation, we go from strength.
Meanwhile, President Goodluck Jonathan met with youth groups in Lagos ahead of March 28 presidential elections. While reacting to questions raised by attendees on the issue of security, the president says the federal government has received 65% of weapons in order to execute the fight against insurgents.
We thought we were going to crush the Boko Haram with what we had, but it happened at the bottom. So we have to recalibrate security architecture. That was done. Up to this time, we have not received all what we have paid for. But at least we've gotten about 65 to 70%. And of course, that's why the prosecution of the war is getting better every day.
Responding to questions on the epileptic pass supply in the country, the president says it will be a thing of the past within the next 18 months. And now the Bring Back Our Girls group has expressed concern about what it described as the silence of the authorities and efforts to rescue the 219 Chibok schoolgirls more than 2 weeks into the renewed offensive against the Boko Haram set. The group made its concern known in a statement issued in Abuja. It urged the government and the defense authorities to be forthcoming on how the rescue plans will intersect with the ongoing operations. It also wants the military to publish a list of towns and communities in northeast Nigeria still occupied by the insurgents. This, according to the protest group, is to clear the air and confusion over the communities that were taken over by Boko Haram before the renewal operation. And following strong indications alleging the British government refuses to divulge the intelligence information as regards the whereabouts of the more than 200 Chibok schoolgirls kidnapped by Boko Haram since April 14, 2014. The British government claims that revealing details of what it found about the whereabouts of the abducted girls will clearly damage its relationship with Nigeria and other allies. This revelation comes after a UK-based group, Security in Africa, through its founder, Ben Ogutala, wrote the British Ministry of Defense to request information on the Chibok girls. The group had earlier in January this year says it was setting up a task force to Sambisa Forest to secure the release of the abducted schoolgirls requested from the UK government to know the results and reports of the British Armed Forces, the details of where they searched and the results of their findings. The British Defense Ministry insists that it will not release the details of where the UK soldiers searched and the result of their findings. It, however, shared details of the technology, techniques, or methodology used in the search. Not deterred by the response of the British MOD, Oguntole says his group will also approach the British Prime Minister to review what he can about the Chibok girls. The People's Democratic Party insists that the All Progressive Congress staged managed the appearance of its presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari at Chatham House in London. It claims the questions he was asked were landed or handed to him at least 2 days before the event. Spokesman for PDP's presidential campaign team, Femi Fani-Kaode, said these at a news conference in Abuja. He also argued that the real reason Buhari was in the United Kingdom was to see his doctors.
This is the first time General Buhari has admitted that anything good is happening in Nigeria under the watch of President Jonathan. General Buhari, however, lied when he said that the Jonathan administration, quote, has created two economies, one economy for a few who have so much in their tiny island of prosperity, and the other economy for the many who have so little in their vast ocean of misery, end of quote. General Buhari should have gone further by naming those he knows who live in their, quote, tiny island of prosperity, end of quote, and who are bankrolling his presidential campaign, having told the whole world that he paid 27 million naira for his nomination form through a bank loan. Regrettably, General Buhari failed to admit the fact that but for the menace of terrorism, which he and his party tacitly support, our economy would have grown even faster and done even better. It is on record that every effort being made by President Jonathan and our gallant armed forces to combat the terrorists and arrest the scourge has always met stiff opposition from the APC and General Buhari. They were against emergency rule in the northeastern states and the proscription of the Boko Haram sect. The APC and its leaders have never deemed it fit to commend our military. This is simply due to the fact that without APC, there will be no Boko Haram, and without Boko Haram, there will be no APC. The two are linked, and their relationship is like the relationship that existed between the IRA and Sinn Féin. One feeds off the other. Hi, how are you doing? You just put it on now? You just put it on now?
And our former Lagos State Governor Bola Tinubu says he is not scheming to become president through the back door, as claimed by the People's Democratic Party. He insists that the All Progressive Congress is seeking the presidency on the Buhari-Osinbajo ticket, and it will remain so. Speaking through his media aide, Sunday Dare, the national leader of the All Progressive Congress, said in a statement that the allegation is exposed to confusion within the PDP. Tinubu noted that the claim made by the PDP campaign spokesman, Femi Fani-Kaode, is an indication that the party knows that the game is over. The APC leader also pointed out that the Professor Osinbajo is a fiercely independent legal crusader that cannot be part of what Fani-Kaode claimed he agreed to. The former governor added that Buhari's running mate is one of many great talents in the opposition party who are prepared to deliver Nigerians from years of misrule. The All Progressive Congress, APC, has raised an alarm over what it described as the relentless scheming by the Jonathan administration and the PDP to push for another postponement of the 2015 general elections unless they can perfect a rigging plan and call for the imposition of global sanctions on whoever's caught is deposed. In a statement issued in Dubai on Sunday by International Publicity Secretary Lai Mohammed, the party said the multi-pronged efforts to prevent the elections from holding as rescheduled includes the use of some 23 portfolio political parties to seek a further shift in the election dates and the destabilization of INEC's election plan through the orchestrated removal of its chairman, Ataru Jaga. He said the same 23 settler parties of the PDP that were used to push for the 6-week postponement of the elections have again started testing the waters by pushing for a further shift in the elections in the 6th stage of the Northeast, ostensibly to allow the conclusion of the counter-insurgency battle and also to allow those displaced to return home. The party said while the 23 parties are pushing for the elections to be further postponed, the Jonathan administration and the PDP are simultaneously forging ahead with their plan to remove Jega and replace him with a malleable acting chairman, whom they believe will do their bidding. The All Progressive Congress has assured Nigerians that it will not introduce any hashtags regime if its presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari wins the 28th election March. It says it will rather use existing task policies of government to fund its people-oriented programs. Spokesman for APC presidential campaign team Garuba Shehu said in a statement that under the Jonathan administration, the Nigerian people and the business community are already reeling under multiple discriminatory and hashtags regime. He added that an APC administration will make life more bearable and manageable for both the citizens and the business sector by entrenching discipline in public administration across all sectors of governance. Shehu also noted that the party will plug all loopholes through which public funds are being lost and ensure there is reasonable funds for its social investment programs in education, health, and safety nets, including free school meals. Meanwhile, the APC presidential campaign team has described the sudden emergence of fuel queues in the Federal Capital Territory and some parts of the country, as well as the reduction in the hours of electricity supply across the country, as sad reminders of the failure of PDP at the center. The party wondered how a political party which has been in power for 16 years and which is unable to ensure that its citizens enjoy regular fuel supply and steady power supply is confident enough to seek another term in office. APC insists in a statement issued in Abuja that the failure of the PDP government in two areas is a sign of gross ineptitude, maladministration and corruption. You're still watching CoreTV News at 4. We'll take a short break. We'll be back with more stories after this time out. Stay with us.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, and Moten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on CoreTV News.
If you just joined us, this is CoreTV News at 4 live from our Lagos studios. For more information on the news and other programs, like our Facebook page, is facebook.com/CoreTV News. You can as well follow at CoreTV News NG. And for live streaming, log on to youtube.com/CoreTV, leave a space, then news. With the increasing tempo of political campaigns ahead of the forthcoming general elections in Edo State, the People Democratic Party has taken a swipe at the presidential candidate of All Progressive Congress, Muhammadu Buhari, for refusing to open up to Nigerians on his alleged overstay in the United Kingdom. Dan Obi, the Edo State PDP chairman, who was speaking to members of his party at a rally in Igbo-Bazoa in Ovio Southwest local government area of the state, challenged him to return to the country and continue with his campaign. A correspondent was at the rally filing this report. Dan Obi was welcomed to the rally by a huge crowd of party faithful and support group amid celebration in Ovio Southwest local government area, expressed satisfaction at the turnout of members and members of the All Progressive Congress with their brooms waiting to decamp to the PDP. He noted that Nigeria has no alternatives apart from PDP in the quest to continue to deliver on the gains of democracy, while maintaining that a vote for Jonathan means progress and continued development.
Not in London. People Uganda has taken us to London. Amechi is in London. All of them, they've gone to London. But they have refused to tell Nigerians the reasons why they are in London. I challenge Buhari to come back and continue his campaign.
Among those who defected is a serving commissioner in Governor Oshomole's cabinet, Dennis Idahosa, amongst others who dumped the APC. Dan Obi maintained that the continuous defection of the APC members to the PDP is a clear indication that APC was finished.
Tell the people why they are bound to lose this election and we help him. The reasons why they will lose Edo State is that Edo people are tired of his lies. Edo people are tired of his government. Anything that is not founded in truth cannot stand. Oshomele's government is a government of deceit, fraud, and dishonesty.
Many of those who defected later threw away their brooms before embracing the umbrella as the chairman of the party led others to a dance. All Progressive Congress candidate for the Lagos West Senatorial District in the 2015 general elections, Olamilekun Adeola, says the calls for the use of the military to provide security for the 2015 general election is unfortunate. Adeola, who spoke to journalists in Lagos after a meeting with the American Consul General Tom Hines, says the provision of security for the elections is a strictly police affair, wondering why the calls for the involvement of the military, which has become an issue. He added that the issue should be how to equip the police properly rather than taking their duties away from them.
There is any need for the military, whose responsibility is to protect, provide security for us during the electioneering process. It's no other person than the Nigerian police. Are we saying that the men of the Nigerian police has failed in the discharge of their duty if one of their primary assignment, they cannot carry this assignment out? So let them be better equipped, let them be better processed, because one of the main reasons why we have postponed this election from February 14 to March 28 is as a result of lack of security. And the only security we're referring to is the Nigerian military, who earlier assured Nigerians that they are prepared and ready for this election. But immediately after the Council of State meeting, they came out and said they need 6 weeks to fight insurgents in the northeast. And that is an assault. They are not ready for this election. And the question is, we can't continue like this. And that is why we have stood our ground and we are saying the military has no role to play as far as election is concerned in this country.
For his part, the American Consul General Tom Hines says the United States is only interested in the elections because of its desire for the country's continued development. He added that he hopes for free, fair and credible elections to consolidate the nation's democracy.
Well, that's a really difficult question. I think you rightly pointed out that Nigeria is early in its democracy and it's developing, and like I just said, you know, the hope for free, transparent, credible elections where people can go out and choose their leaders without the fear of violence is the most important thing. And I'm sure if that is achieved, that Nigeria's democracy will flourish. So I think that's about all I can say about that.
Now, the botched election of the Nigerian Labour Congress, which left salt taste in the mouth of many Nigerians and concerned foreigners alike, has continued to generate debates and widespread condemnation from various quarters. This time, the NLC is getting its knocks from the Association of Local Governments of Nigeria, ALGON. The vice chairman of the association, Emmanuel Lohman, who spoke with a reporter in Just, expressed dissatisfaction at the manner of the Labour Congress conducted itself, saying the organization has lost the moral standing to condemn the federal government on any electoral misdemeanor.
The botched election conducted by the Nigeria Labour Congress following insinuations that some of the candidates for the office of the president of the Congress were standing along political party lines led to a sharp disagreement and a chaotic scene, resulting in the rescheduling of the election and the extension of the current president's tenure by 10 days. Speaking to CoreTV News, the chairman of Barking Ladi chapter, who is also the national vice chairman of ALGON, said the Labour Congress should not have belittled itself to such an extent in the eyes of Nigerians.
What happened with the election of the NLC was so worrisome indeed. You don't expect a well-known organization as NLC to behave the way it did. That goes to show that a lot of politics takes place in NLC, and a lot of interest came into the whole system, and that destabilizes the election. Algon is so worried about what happened in NLC. This is a union that has always been on rampage.
While speaking in his capacity as an Algon leader, Lohman lamented that the NLC has thrown a bad precedent for other smaller unions in the country and therefore called on them to put their house in order so as to regain the confidence of Nigerians and continue to be an arbiter to the Nigerian worker.
That kind of election that took place in NLC was something so worrisome. It shows a very bad signal to other unions, because it's one of the strongest unions we can ever think of having here in this country. But it has really tell other unions that it's not capable. And we are really, really so worried about what happened. So I would like to call on the NLC as a matter of urgency. Let them go back to the drawing board and allow members to vote whomsoever they want to. Today, NLC cannot come out and challenge the federal government. With what is happening about our elections, NLC has no any say.
And now President Goodluck Jonathan has paid glowing tribute to what he described as the productive spiritual leadership of Pastor Enoch Adeboye on his 73rd birthday. He said this in a congratulatory letter to the General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God on his birthday coming up today. President Jonathan also expressed his appreciation of the prayerful support he says Pastor Adeboye has been giving to his administration. He added that he always leaves every meeting with the clergyman deeply inspired by his steadfast faith and commitment to the peace, stability and development of the country. As motorists in different parts of the country continue to lament what they describe as artificial scarcity of petroleum products and the rise in price against the official price, especially that of the premium motor spirit known as petrol, queues have gradually returned to filling stations in Lagos. CoreTV News visited some of the filling stations in the city to fill the pulse with many motorists at the lows and the sudden return of queues and what this meant for their daily activities.
We never thought that it's supposed to be like this. It has happened at Lagos. At the same time, we perceived it when we are at Ibadan a day before yesterday. But it's not something that we can bear anymore. It's also give a sign that this economy, that's why we are still a country that we are producing. We are among the people that having this crude oil. We are not supposed to be having maybe experience this kind of fuel scarcity in Nigeria.
I don't even like this situation of the scarcity of fuel. I don't like it because anytime they want to reduce the fuel price, they will make sure that there be scarcity of fuel. I don't know.
I just came to get fuel out of church and I ran into this. For me, I think it's really very stupid because there's really no reason for it. Yesterday, I was watching the television and I saw petrol scarcity in Abuja and I thought, what is all this about? But I just heard this in the station now that they want to reduce the pump price. Now, if you want to reduce pump price, does it not make economic sense for you to even sell than to hoard? I don't understand it.
Like this morning, okay, I'm traveling now, so I've been to 5 different filling stations before getting here. So I was surprised to just met the whole place deserted. So except that's why I had to queue. So I've been on this queue now for about 1 hour now before getting to this spot. So I believe government has a major role to play in this matter. So, and I believe if government can just wake up to our responsibility and do something about it.
Well, and that's a wrap on CoreTV News at 4. Many thanks for watching. I am Frank Omalape. We'll be back at 5 with Global News. Thank you for watching.